Hi again, Chris Klein, Director of Butterfly Ridge Butterfly Conservation Center. Glad you could join us for episode 4 of Landscaping for Life. And in this episode, I want to talk a little bit more about why native plants are so important in your home landscape. And that, once again, if you go back to the introduction of the whole series, that was kind of my motivation for even doing this. Was just seems like there's so little emphasis on native plants out there when you go to your local garden center, or when you listen to the expert gardener on the radio. And so I wanted to kind of get some information out there about native plants. I apologize, I sound a little bit nasally here. I've been fighting a virus for the last several days, and so I'm finally able to get out and do some things. So hopefully you can still hear me okay and everything. And so I think the thing that really got me turned on to the use of native plants in landscaping was actually one time I had the opportunity to listen to Douglas Tallamy, the author of Bringing Nature Home. I got to listen to him speak at a Ohio Botanical Symposium up in Columbus. And one of the things that just really struck me, he put a picture on the screen of his neighbor's yard. And I think Douglas lives in Delaware, if I recall. And he put up a picture of his neighbor's home landscape. And then he had little bubbles above each plant indicating where each plant originated from. And in this neighbor's yard, there was not a single plant native to North America. Not a single one. And that really struck me. You know, the problem with bringing in exotics from other places, frequently there are no checks and balances for those plants. And so for us here in North America, I'll take for example privet. Okay, our last 4 years, one particular section of Butterfly Ridge, actually the space between our exit and entry drives. So if you've been to Butterfly Ridge, you've driven right past this space. We have spent in the last 4 years, I bet we have spent 80 hours trying to eradicate privet from just that little space. I'm talking a space maybe 30 feet square. And we've taken 80 hours to try to get rid of it. See, the problem with privet and many non-natives is nobody uses them. Okay, there is not a single butterfly or moth that I'm aware of that uses privet as a caterpillar host plant. Okay, none. They will use the flowers of privet as nectar to a degree, but none of them will host on privet. And so really privet's not really doing a very good job as far as promoting life in your landscape. Whereas you could use something like one of our native dogwoods or one of our native viburnums, who will accomplish basically the same thing for you as far as a look within the landscape, yet there's several types of butterflies and moths that will use it as a host plant. Butterflies to a degree will still use those flowers as nectar. Other pollinators will use those flowers as nectar. And so once again, with natives, you get the benefits that they're promoting other life forms, yet you still get the pretty plant in your landscape. I'm, how to put it without getting too crazy on you here, I don't know. I'm very much a pro-life kind of a person, except I view pro-life a little bit differently, in that for me it's not just a human thing, it's all life forms. And for me it's not just a birth thing, it's from egg to adult, if you will. Okay, and I guess I like my landscapes to be living. Okay, you look at a lawn, a nice pretty green lawn, and when I see that lawn, I see a sterile environment. Okay, there's nothing alive there. I mean, yeah, there might be a bee or a butterfly, fly through. However, if you're a good lawn owner, you use the various products out there to get rid of the clover and the dandelions, which from a life perspective are really the only beneficial things in your lawn. Okay. You probably spray your lawn with something to kill the grubs in the soil so that they don't feed on the roots of your lawn. So your lawn is a very sterile environment. Okay, and any life form that actually tries to get started in there, if an eastern-tailed blue lays her eggs on a random clover that may have escaped, your broadleaf herbicide, then you go through once a week and you mow and you chop up any of those little caterpillars that may be coming up. And so I see lawn as a very barren type of an environment. Whereas you look at, for example, our prairies that we've established here at Butterfly Ridge, I mean, there's all kinds of life going on up there. I mean, at any given time during the summer, you're going to see butterflies, you're going to see bees and flies and grasshoppers. One day I was going through there and some furry thing ran across the trail, and in all honesty, I'm not sure what it was. Okay, it didn't look quite like a rabbit. It wasn't big enough for a woodchuck. I haven't seen any big holes, from a woodchuck or a groundhog. And so I'm not quite sure what this thing was. Bigger than a mouse, but the point I'm trying to make is in our prairie, life is happening. Okay, and we've got a wide range of native plants up there to fuel that life. Here a while back on Facebook, one of my friends had commented about an area that's near us, near Lake Logan, and this friend was concerned because it used to be a great picnicking spot that they kept mowed and looking nice and neat and wonderful, and now it just looks so overgrown and unkept, and how terrible that was. And I pointed out to her, well, maybe they're trying to transition it into a wildlife area or something. And her response was, oh, the only kind of wildlife that's in there are snakes. And obviously this friend of mine doesn't really have a good understanding of what a healthy, vibrant, living ecosystem looks like. And once again, these non-native exotics that we bring in, they don't help that any. As I said, there's nothing that eats privet. Okay, that's how it's able to grow out of control. It's because there's nothing out there to keep it in check. Daylilies, okay, another exotic, and they're pretty. I understand. Don't get me wrong, but beyond prettiness, they're relatively useless. Okay. Once again, butterflies, I'm not aware of any butterflies or moths that feed on daylily, okay? And that you'll get these great big huge thickets of daylily, and granted, yeah, it's pretty, but it's not really accomplishing a purpose, towards the bigger idea of the ecosystem. And so here at Butterfly Ridge, that's why we think native plants are just so important, is because they provide a greater purpose beyond just looking pretty, okay? Native plants, I mean, they look pretty, and I would argue that for any role that an exotic plant would play in your home landscape, that there's a native that will look just as nice and that will serve that function just as well, and at the same time promote life on a much bigger scale than what those exotics will promote. And so, for example, everything that we've planted here at Butterfly Ridge, with the exception of 3 shrubs, and those are butterfly bushes, everything else that we've planted has been native. And it's so important to us, I actually wrote a book on the topic, okay? Butterfly Gardening with Native Plants. And it's been fairly well received. It originally came out as a self-published project here. Oh boy, I probably first did this six years or so ago. And then Skyhorse Publishing caught wind of it and published it. Oh, I think that's probably been 4 years ago or so. But once again, using natives in your home landscape is just really, really important. And I know, like I said, a lot of garden shows on television, on the radio, a lot of the people in the garden centers that you go visit, they very much gloss over the natives. They really try to push the exotics at you. And I think the only thing that's going to make that change is for folks like you to start pushing back. Okay, start demanding those native plants. Okay, suddenly when the boxwoods and the privets aren't selling, okay, maybe the garden center will realize, hey, maybe we should be instead selling dogwoods and viburnums instead. And so once again, it's very much up to you to kind of grab the banner and start waving it in your own communities. And so I hope you'll continue watching our Landscaping for Life series. Once again, we do this every week, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. And so I hope you'll continue watching, that you'll hopefully continue to get some good ideas from what we've done here at Butterfly Ridge. Once again, you are always welcome. Give us a call, send us an email, make a comment, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. Make a comment, ask questions. What are good natives that might work for this situation or that situation? We'll definitely steer you in the right direction. Also, as far as supplying seed, once again, that's what we're all about, is passing out seed to people so we can help you get started. And so with that, I wish you a happy holidays, and we will see you for episode 5 here in a week or so. Bye.